Random doodles? Or have I lost my mind? Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 30th, 2019. Hard to believe that we are into fall, at least here in the northern hemisphere, although the days so far have not been too bad at all. And in fact, some days have been very warm. But looking out the window this morning, it looks a little gray, it looks a little wet. Yeah, fall is here. Okay, so let's talk about what I've been up to. Okay, I'm not showing it to you today, but I promise I will show it to you next week, next Monday. And that's my latest quilt, the Fantasy quilt. That's the one I showed you all the circular pieces that were cut out for that. Well, it's all together. It's got its borders on. And tomorrow I'm taking it over to the long arm and I'm going to quilt it. And then I'll get my binding on it and it'll be ready to show. And I think it's turned out pretty good, as long as I don't blow the long arm quilting part. And I'm going to talk more about long arm quilting because we had a very intense weekend and we'll come back to that. You can see behind me two other projects I'm working on. Neither one of these have been quilted yet, but that's all I have left to do. This is another Halloween banner. It's going to be the mate to the one that I showed you a couple of weeks ago. And I think I am going to try a little bit of free motion quilting on both of these projects. And this, I just was in the mood to make a fall table runner. And I was experimenting with a couple of designs I've never made before. This center star and this, which is actually called an Old Maid's Puzzle piece. Don't know why, but it is. They have crazy names for blocks, I guess. And I'm intending to use this particular design in my Australian quilt, which I haven't done anything on, but I have finally got it designed in electric quilt. And I needed an extra applique for it because I don't know if you remember, but way back, and I'll show you pictures of all these as I get on with the quilt. It's going to take me a while for this quilt. But I bought these animals, Australian animals appliques. I bought 3. I made one of the kangaroo. It turned out pretty good. So I had a couple of more. But for the design of my quilt, I want to use those as sort of a central feature of the quilt. So I needed one more applique. Well, the internet's a wonderful thing because I did a search under the Pattern Company, which is in Australia. And lo and behold, I could order right from them and get the PDF version of the pattern. So I didn't have to wait around in the mail for it. The only thing I didn't get was the fabric with it, but that's okay. I've got lots of fabric, Australian fabric, to use with this applique. And I got it for about $10 Canadian, a little more than $10 Canadian, and that was pretty good. So I'm set. I just have to get down to it. Okay, so that'll be a project that I'll be showing you in the future, in the far distant future, I think. Okay, so that's all I've been up to this week. So the YouTube channel of the week is called The Graphics Fairy, and you're going to see this is an excellent resource for graphics you might want to use in mixed media pieces and collage pieces. This week's YouTube channel is more of a resource than a how-to kind of YouTube channel. This is called The Graphics Fairy, and for a very long time I have subscribed to them, a free subscription, where every Friday they send me another set of vintage graphics. Actually, I've collected so many over the last few years that I've kind of stopped downloading their weekly freebies. On this particular YouTube channel, they show you what to do with those freebies, or the things you can do. So it's very inspiring. Everything from scrapbooking, card making, mixed media, things like that. Pieces of wall art, home decor. They're very good graphics, they're very high resolution, and they're absolutely copyright free. Now you can go to their website and you can subscribe to the website for a fee, or just buy different packages of vintage art as it comes up. And I think it's a very good value. So if you're interested in old advertising, old images from books, things like that that are very high in resolution, then I would suggest that you check out the Graphics Fairy. So the links for the Graphics Fairy is below as usual. Now you will also notice below that we do not have a link to Stephen and Walter Live. That's because we didn't do one. Now I'm sorry if I didn't give you forewarning. I did mention it though the week before in Stephen and Walter Live and on my vlog last week that there might be the potential that we won't be able to do the vlog. And that was because of the weekend workshop we were at on free motion quilting, which I will come back to a little later on in today's show. But sorry we couldn't do it last week, but we are going to do one this Sunday, but it's going to be at 5 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. because guess what this Sunday is? The first Sunday of the month, which means I do my art journal class from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday. So that means by the time I get home, it's closer to 5 o'clock, and that's what time we'll be broadcasting. So Stephen and Walter Live this week, 1 hour later, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and there is also a link below, not just for the Graphics Fairy's website or YouTube channel, but also for their website. And you can sign up on that website, and every Friday they will send you out some free graphics, and they're all vintage, and I was collecting them for quite a while, and I've got quite a cache of them. In fact, to the point now when I get the email, I still get it, but I kind of ignore it because I just have so many graphics. And the beauty of the Graphics Fairy's website is you can go there and glean thousands of freebies that are high quality vintage pieces, and you can buy collections. I think there's even a membership you can join, but you don't need a membership for this site to get a lot of really nice vintage graphics free. However, if you're going to use them a lot or whatever, you might consider investing into it. I'm not sure how much it costs, but it'll be on that website. So the link for that's below. And I also have a link to a company, Stampington and Company, which I'm sure you've heard of, that I get a lot of their magazines, and I'm going to talk just a little bit about those when we get to the segment on book reviews. Okay, so that's what's below. And now let's talk about what's pissing me off this week. Okay, I know a lot of you saw my vlog last week, and a lot of you focused on what was pissing me off last week. And a lot of you, I think, were a little upset with me, and probably rightly so, because basically I said some not so nice things about our neighbors to the north, the Americans. Now, I just want to say that I stand by what I said, and it is my opinion, and my opinion is just as valuable as anybody else's opinion. Now I'm going to tell you why I say that in a moment. My intent was to make other people know how we in our country feel about ordering things outside of our country, in particularly from the States. And I suggested that although there are lots of logical and logistical reasons why things may take a long time to arrive here in Canada from the United States, as if we were in Australia or someplace like that on the other side of the world, there is also an attitude that I think this projects. And so I discussed all that. Now, some of you did agree with me. Fine. Some of you did not. And you voiced that disagreement, but you voiced it in a very, how should we put it, polite manner. And that's fine, because if I'm entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to your opinion, right? But I did have one person who tried to chop off my head. Now, this was a person that has been a regular to my vlogs and a regular to Stephen and Walter Live. Now, I'm not going to mention this person's name. I could, but I'm not going to call them out. That would serve no purpose. Essentially, I didn't like this person's comments about me. Now you're going to say, hold on, wait a minute. You just said everybody's entitled to an opinion. Yes, they are. But not everyone is entitled to deliver that opinion in a way that tends to insult the person who brought it up in the first place. And you know, that happens a lot on YouTube. Not just to me, it happens to lots of YouTube content creators. That was a careful choice of words. I better have a little sip of coffee before I go on. Okay. Now, some people refer to these individuals as trolls. And yeah, you're going to get trolls. These are the people who hide behind anonymous nicknames. And they feel that it is their right to chop up, criticize, and just be belligerent to people who create content for YouTube. Okay. We know about trolls. We don't care about trolls. They can go back and crawl under their bridge where they belong. Okay? But it's when the comments come from people that you sort of know. Okay? People who have been regulars to your channel. You know, the thing those people who don't create content for YouTube do not get is that we are actually creating around our channel a community. I have many subscribers that are regulars that send me notes every now and then. And I'm not talking about people sending me notes and patting me on the back. I'm not looking for anything like that, okay? And I do know some of the things I say get people's dander up. Good. Am I trying to do that on purpose? To a certain extent, yes, I am. I mean, I think it just makes interesting viewing, right? However, those people word their opinion, their comment, their criticism in a positive manner. They go for the topic, they don't go for the topic deliverer. Okay, and that's fine. Now, of course, sometimes this is very difficult to do. We've all been guilty of writing something to someone in some format, whether it be on YouTube or an email or in a letter or wherever, and have been downright belligerent, okay, in the way that we may have worded something. We've all been there. We've all done it, and probably we've all regretted it after the fact, okay, but the emotions kicked in and away we went. Okay, I get that. But these particular comments that came from this individual suggested that this individual is basically a loudmouth and a control freak. Now, I say that because this individual has lots to say during one of our live broadcasts. And great, I love the discussion. That's why we do it. We love, the interaction. But this person always comes across as negative, always comes across with knowing more about things than the content creator know, and are constantly correcting them from their point of view. Now, when I say correcting, I don't mean they're necessarily right, but in their mind, they are. Again, they're entitled to believe in what they believe. But when they start getting belligerent with their comments, I draw the line. I start to take that as personal insult. All of us who create content on YouTube do it for a variety of reasons. Some people do it because it's their business and they're collecting money in one form or another through the YouTube videos. Other people do it because they're looking for their 15 minutes of fame. Other people, like me, we just do it because it's kind of a habit and a hobby. When I first started this channel 135 vlogs ago, and actually before I started doing the vlogs, I was already putting up content. I was doing it for fun. I still am doing it for fun. This is why you will find that most of my videos are off the cuff. Yeah, I do have some notes. I keep these every week. Those keep me organized. But I never do any editing beyond the insertion of things like the YouTube channel of the week and maybe some of my kits that I'm making. But what you see is what you get. I don't edit. See, I just tripped over my tongue. A lot of people would have edited that out. It happens. Why don't I edit? Because I don't have time, for one thing. And then it isn't fun anymore, because then it becomes more like a business. So I've kind of digressed here, as I do, away from the loudmouth and control freaks on YouTube. This particular individual is one of those, in my opinion. I've given this person a long leash, especially on Stephen and Walter Live. This person has said things that I don't know if they do it just to rile up other people and get discussion going, but they come across as, okay, you don't know what you're talking about, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm hijacking your channel in order to express my view so people think that I'm the best and the greatest and I know everything. And when you point out to somebody like that there is something they are wrong about, they have excuses why they're not wrong, their excuses are why you're wrong. And it's just, that's not conversation. That's not constructive, okay? And that's what my channel is not about. I'm not going to say nicey nice things about topics that aren't nicey nice. This is called having opinions. My opinion is my opinion. And as I wrote to this person, my channel, my opinion, go away. If you don't like something I say, if you don't like something you see, you don't have to watch me. You can unsubscribe, you can turn off your notifications, and you'll never hear from me again. I'm not twisting anybody's arm to watch my channel. No YouTube creator is twisting anybody's arm to watch their channel. There are lots of channels I do not watch simply because I don't like the topic they're talking about or the way they're talking about a topic. But instead of slamming them in a public forum, in the comment section, I just turn off my notifications and unsubscribe. You're not for me. Okay, and I move on. I'm not going to waste my time and my energy trying to change them to suit my purposes. Okay, that's what the control freaks want to do. They think it's their personal property, that they're the director of your YouTube channel. They are not. They have no say on this whatsoever. And maybe this is one of the negative sides of the internet and the World Wide Web. And now that we've all become so connected through all the various social medias, maybe that is one of the problems. Maybe it brings these kind of things out in people. The control freaks, the loudmouths, the insulters, the trolls. I don't know. But I'm not having them on my channel. And that's where the difference is, basically from them to me. I have the power to block. And I did. And this person will no longer be on my channel. And I no longer have to get insulting comments from this person. And I'm happy about that. So, bottom line at what I'm pissed off at, do not try to hijack the content of another content creator's YouTube channel. 2, feel free to express your opinions, but express them in a manner that attacks the topic and not the person talking about the topic. And 3, remember your etiquette. Please and thank you go a far way. Making any comment that you write take on a more serious tone. A tone where you should consider that opinion. Okay? Anyways, that's what I was pissed off at this week. Moving on. What's new? Nothing. Haven't bought a thing. Again. Wow. I must be saving a lot of money. Haven't bought anything. Okay, so let's go on to book reviews. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning of the YouTube video that I was going to talk about a company this week in the book review section. Coffee. And that company is one that I'm sure if you're in the crafting world, you have heard all about, you know about, and you've seen their publications. And that's Stampington and Company. And they have a wide variety of publications, and they're really nice. And I have shown you some of these before. For example, Art Journaling. This magazine comes out 4 times a year. It's on the newsstands. I think for us in Canada, it's $16.99, US $14.99. Not a cheap magazine. However, it's more like a book. All of their publications are more like books. Beautiful pictures, good narrative text. You can handle this in little bits and pieces. It's not like reading a book. It's very concisely written. I can't say too much about Stampington and Company's products. So, in fact, to the point where I decided that I would subscribe to this magazine. It's not cheap. I think it came out to almost a little bit more because of the shipping and everything than if I was to buy single copies of it. But here's the problem. When I go to Chapters or Indigo, which are both the same company here in Canada, and it's a huge bookseller, Finding the current copy of this on their stand is next to impossible. You need to practically be in the store the day that they put this out on the rack, because they don't have very many copies of it, and when it's gone, it's gone. Simple as that. And so I don't know how many times I've gone looking for a particular issue of this when it's come out, and it's gone and I can't get it. So I decided to bite the bullet, even though it's expensive. I think it's costing me about 70 or 80 bucks for 4 issues of this, like a year subscription, but at least I know I'm going to get it. And I love it. Now there's other ones though that they have in their line. They have all kinds. So I'm just focusing on the ones that pertain more to art and album making and art journaling, that kind of thing. Like for example, this one, Somerset Memories. It's called Somerset Memories, but it is by Stampington and Company. Again, same format, level, nicely bound, great pictures, great articles, everything like that. Same price, I think. Well, this particular issue was $1 cheaper, $15.99 Canadian. Funny though, the US price was the same, $14.99. So it probably fluctuates given what our dollar's like at the time they put these out for people to sell. Anyways, I love these magazines. This one is Artistic Scrapbooking and More. So again, mixed media, but how to apply it to scrapbooking pages. And I mean, these books are more inspiration than how-tos. They do explain how the artist has done what they have done, but I find looking through them, you can see I've marked some of the pages here because there's a technique I find that I want to try, or there's an idea that I want to try, just full of inspiration. For those of you that are into rubber stamping, they have the Stamper Sampler. And again, it shows you all kinds of different ways you can use certain sets of stamps. I bought a few of these, but I don't usually bother with them anymore because what I found was I usually didn't have the stamp they're talking about. And if I was to buy every stamp product that's in one issue of this, you'd be definitely in the poorhouse. However, you might have some of the stamps, or you might have something that's similar, and so you get some inspiration for some card techniques or some stamping techniques. Then they come out with, I think this comes out about twice a year, maybe 4 times a year, and it's the Somerset Studio Gallery. Now just let me say that some of these publications may no longer be available. You need to go to their website, and I've put the link below, and you can see everything that they have available and when they're coming out, and you can order back issues as well. So this particular one basically, as it says, it's a gallery. It's pictures of what people have done in albums, scrapbooks, card, mixed media. It's got everything in it. So again, these are great for inspiration, and I think they run in the same price. Yep, $16.99 Canadian, $14.99 US. They did have this. Now I think they may have discontinued this one, but it's called Somerset Apprentice. It may still be available. It came out, I think, every 3 months, something like that. And basically it features different artists and some of the things they've created. So again, great for inspiration and ideas. Great for making you jealous, because I know for me, I take a look at what they've done and go, why does my stuff never look like that? So maybe not only do they give inspiration, but also undercut your ego. I don't know. But again, great for ideas. And they called it Apprentice because most of the things that are done in here are for beginners that are getting into mixed media. And then Somerset Studio, The Art of Paper and Mixed Media. And these ones usually come somewhere in the inside with what they call artist papers. And I'm just trying to, I just noticed there's a whole bunch of stuff in here about Halloween. I didn't see that before. Cool. I got to go back through this one. Yeah, I think I took them out. Yeah, I did. Okay, in these issues, they tell you that there are free gift inside, artist papers and coloring page. They're really nice papers. They're glossy, okay? They're heavy, very heavy, same kind of paper that this is printed on, which might make them a little difficult in using it in certain mixed media applications, but they're beautiful papers. And what I do, this is just a secret because that probably violates copyright, I scan them. Yeah, before I do anything to them, I scan them. And then I can do whatever I want with them many times. Just a tip. So anyways, that's some of the publications from Stampington and Company. And as I said, they're expensive in terms of magazines, but think of it more as a book. And it's something you're not going to throw away. You're going to keep. In fact, I don't even like to cut anything out of them. I'll scan something if I want to, I want to write on it or whatever like that, because I treat these like I would treat a really nice book. So I think they're well worth the money when you can get them. Okay, so let's see. Works in progress. Okay, so we're working on the iCraft Cascading Mini Album. The last two segments, I showed you how to put it together. I showed you how to decorate with background papers. And now I'm going to show you how I embellished it inside. Okay, so I have finished embellishing the album, and I did that off video because I thought it'd be kind of boring to watch me just glue things down. And like a lot of the albums I do, I don't put a whole lot of very careful thought into what I'm going to put on the various pages. I just grab interesting things from my stash and away I go. And I'm also trying to use up my stash as well because I have quite a collection. So for this particular album, I kind of just went into this junk basket I have, which consists of a whole bunch of little graphic cutouts that I've gotten from various sources that I've printed out and put through my Cricut Maker and had it do a print and cut with them, or you could fussy cut these pieces as well. Now where they've come from, I don't remember. Graphics Fairy, Mike Deacon, Tim Holtz, magazines, anything that I found that was printed that I thought was interesting, I set aside and spent some time just fussy cutting them all out with scissors and with the Cricut Maker. If the Cricut Maker would work on some of the graphics, it doesn't always work on every type of graphic. So I'm going to take you through this and show you what I've done. Now, right off the bat, you're going to notice something here. I have some things sticking out in the side, and I'm going to explain that in a moment once you see what those really are. But on the outside of this, I took that band, and I said before I thought of putting magnets in this instead of using the band, but I kind of like the band, something a little different, so I didn't use magnets. I just used some of my paper flowers, I think these were from Prima, and just glued them down to the band itself so that when you take this off, it just slides off. And you see, you could put it off to the side too if you wanted to, instead of in the center, up to you. And it holds everything secure. Now, this is not a huge album in terms of how thick it is, so I didn't put in any 3D embellishments because basically there just wasn't room. And also, as I was working on the embellishing of this album, I decided that I wanted to make an album that would have plenty of room for pictures and journaling. So you're going to see what I did in here. Just open this up and you turn it to the side. And here essentially is your album, the accordion fold album. And you know that that's got about 15 pages. It's double-sided in here. So what I did was I essentially just glued. Oh, I noticed I missed a couple of cards here. I'll have to add a couple of cards in there. But what I did was, going through my stash of fancy cutouts, I use them like paper clips. So I only put glue on one side of it, and I used it very sparingly so that I have a flap under here that I can tuck a card under. And as I said, I didn't put a lot of thought in this. This is not really thematic. It's just whatever I had laying around. So it's very eclectic. I guess that's my excuse for saying I just used random elements. I went into my Project Life cards and found ones that had expressions on them, and those could be used as prompts. In some cases, I darkened the borders with a little bit of distress ink around the edge, and these are two-sided. In this particular set I pulled up had words on one side and a spot to journal on another. So these could all be used as prompts. But you don't have to journal on these cards. You could put a photo on here or a clipping or whatever, and it just tucks under here. Now, at first, when I first started doing this, I realized these cards were larger than my page, and I could have cut them down. But then I thought, no, I kind of like the idea of them sticking out from the edge. And I didn't do it here, but I just thought of this. You could put using your label maker, or even using some of like the sticky chat words from Tim Holtz, and just put them on the edge of each one of these, and they'd serve as tabs in a sense as well. So that would add another dimension to this particular album. I didn't do it because I just thought of it, but I think that'd be a cool idea. So that's what I've done throughout all of these pages, is I put these cards here, and as you can see, it all folds up. I'll show you the other side. Oops. Now, the one thing is your cards are possibly going to drop out. And another tip, when you're gluing these little pieces down here to act as your paper clips, you of course want to only use glue on one side of them so that the card can slip underneath. And you want to use it very sparingly. And this is where the Gorilla Glue that I've been using, the super glue, comes in really handy, because this holds really, really well and dries clear and dries fast. You've heard me talk about it before. I can't say too much about it. I love it. So all the cards are in here, so lots of room for journaling, pictures, whatever. So we'll just fold this back up. And you do want to make sure your cards are, or your clips are deep enough that the edge of the card is not over top of the hinge. Otherwise, your booklet, your interior booklet, is not going to close up. Now, of course, if this bothers you with the cards hanging out, this card came from somewhere, there it is, you don't like that, you don't need to do, you could make the cards smaller, or you could put in whatever you want to put in under these clips. You can do whatever you want. It's your album. So there you go. I added these chip words from Tim Holtz. And let's just put the belly bar, or not, I call it a belly bar. It's not a belly bar, it's a belt. Belly band, that's what I want to call it. Takes a little fiddling here. Okay, there we go. Slides on. And there we have it. So that's all I did for embellishing this album. Of course, you could do anything you want. This has lots of potential here for all kinds of things. And as I said, these little cards hang out here. You could use them like tabs. Just put some words on them, or use your label maker to customize it, whatever you like. And I just think that adds another element to it that's a little different. So that takes us to the end of this series on the iCraft Mini Cascading Album. And I hope you enjoyed that. So that ends that particular series, and I will put up later this week the entire 3 parts that were done over the last 3 vlogs all together into one video. So they will not be attached to the vlog, but you can have them all in one concise package. And I'll put a link for that up in the show notes today. I'll put it up in the show notes, yeah, when I get around to putting it all together, okay? So if not today, tomorrow, but it'll be there. So what were we going to do next week? We're going to start another kit. Yes, I have a lot of these kits, as I've told you. And here it is. It's the iCraft Scalloped Gate Fold Album. So next week, I'll show you how to put this together. And just as a side note, I've told you before, these are not easy to get, and their website didn't really work. Well, they do have a website that works now, and you can order from them. Now it's going to be in whatever the Indian money is. Is it rupees? I don't know what the Indian money is. So their prices will all be in that, but I'm sure you can find a converter online that will tell you what it would be in your currency. But their website is www.iCraftDesign, all one word, iCraftDesign.com. And it looks like they've got their act together there now, so you can check that out. Okay. Did I put that in the show notes below? I did not, but I will. Okay. Note to self. Add iCraft website. Okay. All right. So, what events have happened in the past week? Update on my mother. She's fine. I think I mentioned last week she doesn't answer her phone like she should. Every time I call, I let it ring 15 times and she never gets to it. She claims she can't reach it, and she's been claiming she has a problem with her arm. So I went over last Tuesday. Well, I always go over on a Tuesday to visit her. And also it seems like every Tuesday I go over, I'm putting out fires or solving problems for her. So I said to her, okay, does anybody come in to look at your arm? Well, no. I said, okay, show me, Mom. Like, her phone was sitting out, accessible. So she reaches out. It is actually funny. She reaches out for the phone. Now, her wheelchair is too far away from where the phone is. There is no way she can reach it in 1,000 years, even if her arms were like 7 feet long. So she reaches out and said, Mom, you have to push yourself a little closer to the phone. So she does. But in her defense, one of the problems is the wheelchair, because of the way it's designed and the design of her room, and the room is very small, yeah, it could be in a way that she can't get at it. That's why I let the phone ring 15 times, because I know it may take her a while to get to the phone. But then I thought, well, let's check out your arm, because maybe there's something wrong. Because she says, well, she has trouble gripping. So, I know she has a little arthritis, so let's check this out. No, I'm no doctor, but here I'm playing doctor. So I said, okay, Mom, reach out as far as you can. So she does, just like that. Okay? And, yeah, she's got a little bit of a crook in her elbow. She doesn't straighten right up like I can straighten mine, but it's only about that much. So that's not bad. I said, okay, make a fist. No problem. She makes a fist. I said, okay, does that hurt? No. Wiggle your wrist. Does that hurt? No. Does it hurt when you put your arm out? No. Can you put your arm back? How far can you bend it? Well, she could bend her arm the same as I can bend mine. I said, does that hurt? No, it doesn't. I said, wiggle your fingers. Thumb, index, well, yeah, no problem. And no pain. So basically, it's not a question that she can't pick up the phone. It's a question that she doesn't. And I'm not sure what goes on with that. Now, she has said one curious thing. She says, well, when the phone rings, I get nervous and I forget what I'm doing. Okay. Maybe she does. Maybe it elicits a panic attack. I don't know. I'm not going to solve the problem. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to continue on doing what I ever did. I'm just going, and if she doesn't answer, she doesn't answer. It's not like she's not being looked after. It's not like that I'm not over there at least once a week. It's not like my sister's not over there once a week. I mean, there's lots of people going over, lots of people to report to me one way or the other about how my mother is. The staff at the nursing home would certainly let me know how she is. So it's more me than her. I just have to get over that fact and not worry about it. The other problem was, oh, this is funny too. So she listens to her television set with her headphones on, and she puts those headphones up at like full volume. It's just blaring. But I think she does have a little bit of a hearing problem. I probably should investigate that a little further, although she hasn't really complained about it. But anyways, those headphones are pretty loud. I said to her, how's your TV working? I always ask that. It looked like it was working fine. She goes, well, the sound is funny. I said, what do you mean? So I put on her headphones, and after I got over the deafening and I turned the volume down, yeah, they're not working properly. The sound is, I think The Price is Right was on. You could hear the background music. You could not hear what they were saying in the foreground. It was like it was reversed. I thought, well, what's wrong with this? So I kind of thought, well, maybe it has something, maybe she set one of the settings on the TV part wrong, because it's got surround sound and stuff like that, although she's not hooked up for that, and maybe she hit one of those buttons, but she can't, because there are two remotes to run her television set. One runs the little cable box, the fiber box, whatever, from the provider, and that one also adjusts your TV volume and channels and that kind of stuff. There's another one that I put away in her drawer when we first got the TV set, because it has the menu system for the television system and the setups. And the only way you can get at those is with a remote control. They don't put any buttons on this particular TV, and I've noticed this on a lot of new TVs. They don't have any kind of manual controls on the television itself to get into the menu systems. It's all done by your remote control. So if you don't have the remote control, you're screwed. Guess what? We're screwed. We didn't have the remote control. I can't find it anywhere in her room. Now, the only thing I can think of is that either one, somebody walked off with it, although I had it in a bottom drawer under a pile of stuff, so no one would find it. Two, when she moved rooms back a couple of months ago, it never came from the other room. And now who knows if it's there in the other room or just long gone. On Tuesday, I'm going to ask and see about that. Or three, I actually took it home for safekeeping and didn't remember I'd done that. So when I got home, I checked. I did not have it. So the other two possibilities. Anyways, bottom line is remote control's missing. So I went on Amazon. Thank goodness for Amazon. I was able to get the remote control for her TV set for about $16. And it arrived the other day. Came like 2 days after I ordered it. I love Amazon. And yeah, so now hopefully it'll work okay, because when I go over tomorrow, I will be trying it. But anyways, I won't be leaving it there. It's coming back home with me. I'm actually thinking of putting together a little kit, a little bag where I keep some things in that I might need when I get over to my mother's, like command hooks because they've come off the wall and she needs that up again. A pair of scissors, remote control batteries, things like that. Just sort of a repair kit, because I never know what I'm going to find when I get over to visit her, what problem there is going to be there for me to solve. So anyways, that was this week with my mother. Okay, moving on. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the long arm class. And this is why Stephen and Walter Live was not live this week. This was intensive. Very intensive. We started on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock sharp and went right through to 6 o'clock that night. Had a short break for lunch. Actually, it was a working break because we kind of worked through the lunch as well. Information overload. And you saw those little diagrams that I showed at the very beginning in the teaser, these things. Well, yeah, this is what we were doing. We were doodling, actually guided doodling, to learn what's called muscle memory. The way we did these and in continuous lines was what we were supposed to do when we got on the long arm machine, when we were doing the actual stitching. And believe me, it does help to draw these over and over and over again with it. So we did a lot of that. We got on the machines a lot. We had a lot of hands-on time and to play with them and to figure this all out. But she had humongous handouts as well. So it was information overload. By the end of Saturday's session, well, we were supposed to go to a stag for some people we sort of know. They're not really close friends, but we had the ticket, so we were going to go just for a short time. But we were so zonked out that we said, there is no way. We came home, we did a frozen pizza in the oven, ate that. I had a couple of glasses of wine, and I was in bed by 9 on Saturday night because we had to do it all again on Sunday. So up again on Sunday, we were there for 9 o'clock, and we were there until 5:30. It said it was going to go to 6, but I think she got the feeling we were all pretty much exhausted. Now, it was an excellent course. I learned so much, and going through my notes and going through my head to sort this all out is going to give me a brain freeze as well. But well worth it. Was it cheap? No. It was over $400 a piece for the weekend, but we learned a lot about free motion long arm quilting. Still like to have one, but they're still expensive. So anyways, that's why we did not have Stephen and Walter live this past week. Okay. I won a gift certificate from Ultimate Sewing, the place I always go to for my fabric and everything else. And they were having a thing, if you bought over $50 worth of product before taxes, you got your name entered into a daily draw for a $50 gift certificate. And then at the end of the week, and they're supposed to reveal the winner today, or tomorrow actually, there was a draw. Everybody's name went back into the draw for the grand draw, or grand prize of $250 gift certificate. So that's pretty cool. So I got a phone call that I had won on one of the days this week a $50 gift certificate. Now, I probably had good odds because the day I was in there weren't a lot of people at that point, and I bought over $250 worth of fabric. So I got like 4 entries in for this draw. So the odds were in my favor. I don't think my odds will be in my favor for the big money. And boy, I could use that. And this is why. I had taken my best sewing machine, my main sewing machine. I was having trouble with it when I was embroidering. It was popping out the bobbin. It was jamming when I did that. So I thought it best I better take it in, have it serviced, have it cleaned up, because I am going to a retreat at the end of November, and I will be taking that machine with me, and I want it up and running properly. Yeah, there were some problems, all right. Actually, though, when I analyzed the bill afterwards, I realized actually it wasn't that much. It ended up costing me almost $300. Yeah. Now, first of all, I knew it was going to cost me at least $100 for the general maintenance and cleaning, because that's pretty much standard price. Actually, that price was $89.99 for that. Okay. I did have to have one of my needle plates replaced. I wondered why, though, because that wasn't really stopping my machine from working or anything, but because of a couple of the jams with the needle, it had sort of dug into the steel needle plate. But I did do some reading afterwards, and I guess sometimes that can cause burrs that you can't see on the inside of the plate, and that can catch on your needle or your thread and cause you all kinds of grief. That was an expensive piece. That was $65. Then he replaced the two bobbins. Now, my machine takes two bobbins depending on what you're doing. If you're doing ordinary sewing, there's one bobbin. When you're doing embroidery, there's a high tension bobbin that you sub out the other one for. Now, I already had extra ones of these, well, at least extra ones of the high tension one, and I was going to buy a second one for the regular tension, but I hadn't got around to it. Well, he put two of those in. Well, those were $40 a piece, okay? Now, I didn't need those. I had them. He didn't know that. I included one that had gotten damaged in one of these jams so he could see, you know, what's going on with the machine. But however, I did buy from, they would have taken those off the bill. But I decided I would get them because it doesn't hurt to have a few extra ones. And the price, well, it was the same price as if I bought it in the store, so no big deal. There was a piece that he replaced, a small piece, and that was only like about $12 and something, and there was something else that he did that was about $14. If you take away the fact that I had the general maintenance and cleaning, which you do with your machine on a regular basis, you know, once a year at least, if you took that away, that's about $90. If you took away the two bobbins that I didn't absolutely need, that's another $80. That's $170 right there before tax. So the most expensive piece was basically the plate, the needle plate. As I said, $65. So when I break it all down like that, yeah, it is what it is. But it was a bit of sticker shock. I was expecting probably $150, not $296. So guess where the gift certificate went? So it'd be nice to win the big one. Not that I can use it to apply against what I paid for the sewing machine, but buy me lots of fabric, and fabric makes me happy, and then I don't worry about anything. Okay, so that's my story about my sewing machine repair. Just as a side, and I might talk about, I'm thinking of making an Idiot Quilter episode about this in more detail and talking about the importance of sewing machine maintenance. I mean, I invested in a $14,000 machine. So $300 every blue moon, or you know, once a year at the most, or whatever, in order to keep it working perfectly, it's an investment. So I think it's worth spending the money. Okay, now I haven't tried it yet. I hope it purrs like a kitten, because if it doesn't, well, never mind. Okay, so what's coming up? Not much. As I said, I'm off to the Long Armor tomorrow to do the fantasy quilt, which I will show you probably next week. At least that's my plan, to have that all done. And I've already talked about Stephen and Walter Live being on at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this coming Sunday. And I have an art journaling class coming up this Sunday as well, and I've already mentioned that. I'm going to show them how to make a little mini album, and that should be fun. And yeah, so that's the week. And yeah, I can't think of anything else to tell you. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully I'll see you next Monday, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for Stephen and Walter Live this coming Sunday. Topic. Right now it's tentative, but I thought we'd talk about food. And not just about what kind of foods we like, but talk about the whole thing that surrounds food in our society. You know, everything from foodies to gourmet cooking to food allergies to likes and dislikes to whatever. Just talk about our attitudes towards food. So I hope you join us on Sunday. See you later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.